Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to cover Biden's farewell speech, which was really an embarrassment. I've got a couple sound bites, maybe 3 sound bites from Biden's farewell speech that I'm going to play coming out of the first break. And I'm going to cover, of course, President Trump getting the hostages freed and ending his first of 2 wars that he's going to end. And that, of course, is the Hamas war, well, the Iranian war with their Hamas front group against Israel. So Trump has ended a war. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, the great Pam Bondi and a whole bunch of other things. Now, you guys watching on YouTube, I'm not on the radio right now. We're not going to be on the radio until after the first radio commercial break due to some stuff going on at the radio station, which I'm not going to get into right now. So you guys are getting an exclusive early look at the show that the people that listen on the radio aren't going to hear. Pam Bondi, did Pam Bondi not knock it out of the park yesterday? You know, one of the things about Pam Bondi, and by the way, you're still welcome to call in at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631, a toll-free call no matter where you are tuning in from. So Pam Bondi, did she not knock it out of the park or what? I mean, that was unbelievable. And she had a tough act to follow, which, of course, was the great Pete Hegseth the day before. She did incredibly well. And because Trump ended a war and got the hostages released yesterday, the news coverage, of course, got into that. And the news did not give Pam Bondi the proper coverage that she should have gotten for her spectacular performance with these lowlives like Adam Schiff in that Senate hearing yesterday. But, you know, one thing about Pam Bondi that I don't think most people know who were watching yesterday, you know, she's a 60-year-old lady. She'll be 60 this year. So she's 59. I think her birthday is in November, if I remember correctly. So she is a 60-year-old woman, 60-year-old lady. Does she look 60 to you? She looks spectacular. Yeah. Did you guys know she's 60? And she did great. She filleted those senators. Schiff, she just humiliated Schiff, who passed out during the hearing, and that idiot from Hawaii, oh my goodness, just totally filleted her too, and she did so incredibly well. You know, I don't know what it is. There's such a difference between the Democrat women and our MAGA women, because our MAGA women, they have their act together. You know, the way that those, I know, it's hard to believe she's 60 years old. Well, she will be 60 years old later this year. She is 59. And I always tell people, Pam Bondi, as good as she looks on television, looks a lot better in person. So, you know, but 59, 60-year-old lady, that's crazy, isn't it? Looking that good? Oh, my goodness. If you did not know how old Pam Bondi was, how old did you think she was? I would think a lot of people probably thought she was 50-ish. I know. How old do you think she was? Since I'm not on the radio quite yet, we're running behind on the radio, I can talk to the chat a little bit. When I'm on the radio, I can't focus in on the chat. I'm at my home studio again today. I'll be at the radio station tomorrow because I have a couple of meetings at the radio station tomorrow when I get off the air. Oh, Blue Crow says he thought Pam Bondi was 45. Someone else said in her 40s. Yeah, 60-year-old lady. That is 49, someone says. Someone says 55, 40-something. I know. She looks great. I know. Not only did she look great, she did great. 39, I don't know about the 39. 39 seems a little, that seems a little young. But yeah, 60-year-old lady. Isn't that stuff? 45? Mike says 45. He thought she was 45. And look at the difference between how she carried herself and the way these Democrat ladies carry themselves. The Democrat women are completely emotionally out of control. And, the senators, senators are they are the biggest egomaniacs I've ever seen. Lori Scott said she thought that Pam Bondi was 42 years old. Yeah. Not 60. She's 59, but, we're rounding up. I know, it's amazing. Glenn says he's 64 years old and thought she was 43. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. I'm glad I opened up with you.
Yeah, we got the pre-show because we're not on the radio yet, so we're just online. So this is you guys are getting the pre-show here, kind of. I should be on the air, but we're not.
Yeah, Cash Patel is going to be grab your popcorn time because if anything,
hell yeah,
anything that happened yesterday, you knew they were going after him. They actually attacked her for him. I mean, and she's a tough cookie, man. I mean, she made them look ridiculous.
And she, without
Especially
effort. And not only did she make them look stupid, it was like without effort.
Yeah, she's got that little last word in. She actually outclassed prosecutors that were trying to prosecute her. Schiff and that guy from California. But they're all going to go. They're going to go after Patel.
Well, but Cash Patel.
You have any indication?
They're terrified of Cash Patel because he's going to go after these criminals in D.C. and they're trying to characterize it as an enemies list already, like he's an outlaw.
Now I'm going to say something that I don't know whether because I haven't really gone into this and studied it. I guarantee you, if you talk to Ian, you might get a different.
What? Our travel agent?
Perspective of what happened. What happened yesterday with the Biden took all the credit for the Israeli deal.
Of course.
The peace.
Of course. We knew that was going to happen.
But the thing is this, Brian. There are a lot of Israelis that are not pleased with. They think that President Trump was influenced and got bad advice to go along with the Tony Blinken. This is a Tony Blinken peace deal that he did 8 months ago that the Israelis thought they were being undercut at that particular time, and they still do. There was a major protest in Israel.
Richie, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. However, this is just part one. Trump's not in office yet. So, and keep in mind, this is Iran, Hamas is Iran. So they've made what they've done is they're seeing how little they have to give. So they went along, this is not the final deal. When Trump's in office, things will progress.
I wish that President Trump had negotiated this from the very beginning instead of Blinken. That's all I'm saying. I know that they're not happy. There are major players in Israel that are pretty ticked off thinking that Trump betrayed them already.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
I'm going to tell you I'll tell you this about Israel, okay? They have political divisions in Israel like we have here. So when things happen, I don't really care about those divisions. What I know is that, I know a lot of people are going to call this Reagan 2.0 today. It's probably going to be a big thing because the Iranians released the hostages on Inauguration Day. And this is, they were kind of new in power. Iran's been in power for over 40 years now. This is a test to see how little they have to give, Hamas, to the Americans and to the Israelis. So this is not the end deal. I'm telling you.
Well, you know what the major
because Trump wants all the hostages released, and they're only releasing a handful.
Well, it's not just that. It's that corridor that Netanyahu said he's got to protect because that's where all the armaments are coming in. I forgot what the corridor. They're going to abandon that. Yeah. Which means Egypt is going to give them the free rein to start bringing the rockets again.
Well, but another thing that's going to happen is the United States under this idiot Biden we're doing something that's really I would consider to be an international war crime. What Biden's doing, we're funding both sides, right? We're giving money to Hamas. We're giving money to Hamas and Iran. That money is going to get cut off, and it's going to get cut off quick. So they're going to lose their ability to maintain war and their infrastructure real quick.
Yeah, really quick. Getting back to Pam Bondi, you asked her what did she do? Great. She is so sharp and so tough.
I know.
And she looks like, and she's got the votes already from our side, so she really doesn't care what they think. And she actually scolded them on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, big time.
She gets sound bites.
Big time. And I mean, how many people? I mean, you and I, since we're Florida people, we know. But how many people outside of Florida know that could tell she was a 60-year-old lady? Didn't look like it at all.
She's a good-looking woman.
You should see her in person.
Skin like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she really is, and she's a sweet girl, but a tough girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's so intelligent. I mean, they're not going to put anything over on her. There's no man that's going to be able.
Well, I'll tell you, Richie. Since we're not on the radio yet, I'll lift the one call rule for you today. You can call back later in the show if you want. Since we're not on the air yet.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
You're a pretty nice guy today.
Today?
I appreciate it.
Just today? I'm a nice guy today. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I'm a nice guy today. You're on the air. What's your name?
Jeff from Maine.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, listen, Richie's right about Pam Bondi sitting in that seat. She had the Democrats squirming in their seats. They know what's coming. They're scared as all get out. And Pete Hegseth was the same way. They thought they were going to catch them with these certain twists on questions, and they both Pete and Pam turned it right on them, and they put them in their place, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I liked when they asked her that. They asked her that question about the enemies list, and she said, "Oh, I know what you're really doing. You're really asking me about Kash Patel." I loved when she did that. That was beautiful.
That was awesome. And Pete Hegseth, when he said, "You know what? We've all got our history," and that senator that said, "All of you have had all kinds of scandals," and scolded that committee for what they were saying about Pete. And you know what? Pete Hegseth's best comment was, "I have been born again. I have put my faith and trust in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior."
Mm-hmm.
And he let them know that it's not about him, it's about the people and the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming back in America. I believe faith is becoming number one priority. After seeing what's going on for 4 years, people are tired of this anti-God movement, and they are trying to destroy our country.
I would rephrase that a little bit, Jeff. I wouldn't say an anti-God movement. It's an anti-Christian movement. It's targeting Christianity. But listen, I'll give you the last word because Mike just texted me at the radio station. He's setting up. But you know what I mean? I haven't heard any stories about them praying Muslims or Jews or Sikh and just Christians at the abortion clinics. It's really a war on Christianity.
Amen, Brian. And President Trump's having Carrie Underwood sing at the inauguration, and that's going to be a beautiful thing because our country's coming together, and we are going to make America great again. God bless you, Brian.
All right, take care, Jeff. Good to hear from you, Jeff from Maine. Okay, so I just got word from Mike. He is set up, and he gave me the time. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We're going to be live on the radio. So he just gave me the time, and I will be ready for that. Oh, man. I got to tell you, tomorrow I'm going to the radio station, but you guys have no idea already how much better I'm feeling because I don't have that hour-long drive in the morning to get to the radio station and that 90 minutes to 2 hours after. It's... Yeah, Jeff can have a second call today, too. Yeah, both Jeff and Richie can both have second calls today since we're not on the radio quite yet. But we are in a commercial break. They both get... Jeff's a great call. Jeff from Maine's a very good caller. He always adds something to the show. But we'll be back in less than a minute, about 45 seconds. We'll be back. But if you're on hold, hang in there. And I'm going to start, though, I'm going to mention the Pam Bondi thing in the beginning, and then I'll get to the Biden sound bites probably after the bottom of the hour break. Okay, 30 seconds. Stand by. Welcome to the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig, and of course, the Steve Kane Show is Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Welcome, one and all. We have so much to cover today. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls in just a bit. We've got a lot to cover. I'm going to talk about this senile old coot Biden's farewell address. And I was thinking this morning, and every president gives the farewell speech. I do not remember ever talking about any president's farewell address before, but I'm going to do it today, and I have 2 or 3 clips of Biden that I'm going to play coming up later in the hour. I know everyone has talked about Eisenhower's farewell speech when he warned us of the military-industrial complex. Excuse me, guys. But other than Eisenhower, and I wasn't alive then, I don't remember ever talking about one, but we will talk about Biden's. We're going to cover, of course, President Trump has ended his first war already. We are 4 days, 5 hours, and 44 minutes away from President Trump's inauguration. And he's already ended his first war with the beginnings of the peace deal between the Iranian front group Hamas and Israel. That's absolutely amazing. Okay, that's absolutely amazing. We're going to cover that, as well as the Pam Bondi hearing yesterday, which was spectacular, and a whole bunch more. But I wanted to start here with the peace deal because it's so important, and I don't think the news are really doing a proper job covering it. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. The Hamas peace deal. This is not the final agreement. Okay. Now, everyone today, I would imagine, is going to call at least in conservative media, are going to call what has just happened Reagan 2.0. And for those of you that are not familiar or were not around or were babies or not even born or conceived yet when Reagan came into office in January of 1981, the American hostages that were held by Iran were freed during the inauguration, and they did. Iran freed those hostages for 2 reasons. One, they were afraid of Ronald Reagan, and 2, they wanted to stick it to Jimmy Carter. But the Iranians were new in power then, right? They just had the Islamic Revolution, and they were not in power. Now they've been in power over 40 years, and things are different. And Hamas is Iran. Right? Hamas is Iran. So what's going on is Iran, through Hamas, they're testing to see how little they have to give, how few concessions they can get away with. So a lot of people are going to say today, when they give analysis to Trump ending his first of the 2 wars that Biden has started, of course, we're talking about the Israeli-Hamas war, and the second one will be the Ukraine-Russian war, that this deal is wrong, and it's this, and it's that. Trump's not yet in office, okay? When he's in office, one thing that's very important to understand, what Joe Biden has been doing for over a year with this Hamas-Israeli war very well could be legally, I believe it is morally, But what Biden's been doing could legally be an international war crime. And what I mean by that is we're providing weapons and funding to both sides. Now, Ukraine is a welfare state like Canada of the United States, and we give for free. Well, we pay for them. The American taxpayers pay for them, but the United States under Biden has been giving Ukraine all these weapons for free, plus boatloads of money to fund their entire government. We don't give anything to Israel. Israel actually buys the weapons from us. Did you know that? Israel buys the weapons to us. Now, there's foreign aid we give to Israel, no doubt, but the weapons Israel actually buys from us. We don't give Israel weapons for free like we do Ukraine. But what Biden's been doing that very well may be an international war crime is this. Biden has been giving money and funding Hamas, the Gazians, whatever they call themselves. So the United States under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been providing, through the funding of Hamas and, of course, Iran, have been providing weapons to both sides in this war. That's how much the military-industrial complex, that's how much juice they have in Washington over these Democrats, over Biden, over Kamala. This is insane. That's criminal. You know, you support one side, you don't support the other. You don't fund both sides. You don't arm both sides. That's what Biden's been doing. It's beyond disgusting. When I say criminal, I don't mean morally. I mean legally, that's a war crime, what Biden's doing. So Hamas, the front group for Iran, with this deal, they are just testing to see how little they have to concede. When Trump comes in 4 days, 5 hours, and 37 minutes from now, and is sworn in, he's going to cut the funding off to Iran and Hamas. And when they no longer have their money coming in, Hamas and Iran, they're going to lose their ability to wage war and fund terrorism. Things are going to start to fall apart for them because they're not going to have the money that the United States has been giving Iran and Hamas, because Trump is going to stop it. Okay? So that's something that's not being factored in or discussed. But no, don't be upset. President Trump is not even in office yet, and he has ended a war, and that's a good thing. And some of the hostages are going to be released. Not all. Trump wants them all released. And Trump didn't say, if you don't release some of the hostages, all hell will break loose in the Middle East. He says, if you don't release the hostages, which means all the hostages. So Trump has told Hamas that they have to release all of the hostages, and they're not doing that. So this is not going to fly. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. This is not going to fly. But what Trump is, this ceasefire, the ending of the war, the release of some of the hostages, is Trump's beginning of the end of this war, and it's all because of him. Now, of course, Biden took credit, will take credit. Democrats will praise and give him credit, but everybody knows that's BS. You know, after Monday, when Biden flies off to the Delaware nursing home, people are going to forget everything about Biden, okay? Biden is going to be one of the most insignificant presidents in American history, like Bill Clinton. You know, you look at so many of these presidents, they don't do much. That's historical. Even Obama. You know, Obama is always going to have a place in history because he's the first black president. But Bill Clinton was president for 8 years. He'll be forgotten. What was the most historic thing he did that anybody will remember? Sex scandals, yeah. But the liberals who write the history books aren't going to include that. But no, he's going to be forgotten, as will Biden. The only time Biden will ever be mentioned is in the context of the greatness of the two bookends of this great president, Donald Trump. Now, I want to remind you guys, Monday at noon is the inauguration. Come join Steve Kane and me. You are all invited to Wings Plus, the Sample Road location in Coral Springs. Wings Plus is about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. We're going to have a great time. The televisions are going to be on. for the inauguration. And, Wings Plus, Brian Walsh, he's the owner. Wings Plus carry all the games for every sport there is when there's things going on. You hear us talk about that sometimes. Those televisions are all going to be on President Trump's inauguration. So no matter where you are sitting at Wings Plus on Sample Road in Coral Springs, because there's 2 Wings Plus, and Brian owns them both in Coral Springs. We're going to be at the Sample Road location. No matter where you are sitting, you're going to be able to see in beautiful color President Trump swearing in, because there's TVs everywhere at Wings Plus. Again, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. Steve Kane and I will be there. The inauguration is at noon. When we get off the air Monday, both Steve and I will be heading straight there. So Steve and I will be there early, and you're invited to come early as well. All right, we're going to take our bottom of the hour break. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll take our bottom of the hour break and be back right after this. All right, we are clear. All right. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'll take a call or two when we get back, and then I'll get into some of the other stories, because there's so much to cover today. This is huge. Oh, by the way, the My Pillow cross. Okay, I got an update on the discount on this, right? 30% off, but it is actually, that is, let's see here. That is 50, that's 7. Alexa, what's 249 minus 174? 249 minus 174 is 75. Yeah. It's $75 off, the My Pillow, My Cross. Each of them, $75 off with our promo code Kane at checkout. And free shipping. Isn't that a great deal? This is the one for women. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then this is the one that Mike himself wears for men. $75 off each of them and free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com. Isn't that's, I know it's a great deal. $75 off. What a great deal. Yeah. It's $30 off, but 30% off, but it is $75 off. That is an incredible deal. So order yours. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. And remember, free shipping on orders over $75, so it's free shipping as well. $75 off and free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, we'll be back on the air in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I just looked. 4 minutes. We'll be back on the air on the radio. No, that's a incredible deal. $75 off and free shipping. Mike's a good guy. He's been supporting us here. He's been in my podcast, radio show, YouTube channel for years. He's a good guy. Any of you ever meet Mike Lindell? He's awesome. He's the same way in person that he is when you see him on television. I'll take a call or two before I get into the stories after the break. Now, remember, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video. That helps a lot, guys. And I do appreciate all of your support. Oh, man. These are exciting times. The next 4 years are going to be just so Freaking amazing, aren't they? It's going to be some of the most amazing times we've ever had when it comes to news. We're going to experience things like we have never experienced before. We really are. Okay. About 2.5 minutes. Yes, it is Thursday already. See, now that we're getting close, time's going by faster, isn't it? This president-elect period has gone by so slow. And now that we're close, it's speeding up a little bit. At least it is for me. Is it speeding up for you guys a little bit? We are 4 days, 5 hours, and 29 minutes away. Oh, man. I cannot wait for that Kash Patel hearing. The Kash Patel Senate hearing is going to be insane. These Democrats are in a panic over Kash Patel. In a complete panic. This is winning, man. Any of you tired of winning? I'm not tired of winning. No way. No way, Jose. 90 seconds. We'll be back on the air. Oh, yeah. I've canceled all my weekend plans because the inaugural celebration is going to be a whole weekend-long event. I'll probably be watching most of it on Right Side, some of it on TV. Yes, yes, yes. 1 minute, and we'll be back. I cannot wait for that inauguration. Can't wait. No, and they put off the Christy Nome hearing. Was it the Christy Nome or the Tulsi hearing they put off? All right, 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. Here we go. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And we are now 4 days, 5 hours, and 26 minutes away from President Trump being sworn in as the 47th Presidente de Estados Unidos, as they say in Southern California. But they'll be saying President of the United States soon with the deportation. So things are getting exciting. We got so much to cover. I'm going to take a call or two before I get into some of my audio sound bites and some of the issues. So let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike. What's up?
You know, I just saw you do your commercial for Mike and the pillows and stuff, My Pillow and stuff. Here's how good those My Pillow stuff is. Before I got the mattress topper and the pillow and stuff, I always had a problem falling asleep. You know, I couldn't fall asleep within an hour, you know, and I was tossing and turning and all that stuff. With the My Pillow products, man, I'm out like a light.
Yeah.
Almost right away.
Yeah, deep sleep, too.
Out like a light.
Yeah, get that REM sleep. And of course, you sleep better when you use the promo code Kane because you get these huge discounts. So what's on your mind, Mike?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Now, as far as Pam Bondi took him out to the woodshed.
Schiff? She took all of them to the woodshed, but particular Schiff, yeah.
Yes, she did. But Schiff was there to protect the Jan 6 committee, because that was his big deal. Jan 6. And basically trying to protect Liz Cheney, who's the daughter of a war criminal, But that's neither here nor there. To try to protect that Jan 6 committee, and that's why he was so fixated on Jan 6. Are you going to go after the Jan 6
Well,
committee?
you know, with
Or are you
Pam,
gonna go
Pam
after-
Bondi, when she not only did Pam Bondi knock it out of the park, you know, we know Pam Bondi here in Florida because she was our attorney general. I've met her a bunch of times. She's been on a guest on the show in studio. We've had her in studio with us. But what I think people, you know, Pam Bondi, because Trump ended a war yesterday in the Middle East, that hijacked the news cycle, and she didn't get her proper coverage in the aftermath of that beautiful, glorious hearing because of that in the news yesterday. But I don't think many people outside of Florida know Pam Bondi is 60 years old. Well, she's 59. She'll be 60, I think, in November. So she's a 60-year-old lady. She looks great, and she did incredible. Does she look like a 60-year-old lady to you?
No, I mean, flat out. She looks like she's on that hormone replacement pellet therapy stuff you always talk about.
Maybe.
You know? I mean,
Maybe.
think about it. You look at her versus Kamala. They're about the same age.
Yeah.
But Kamala looks 10 to 15 years older than she really is. And Pam looks, 10 to 15
Well,
years
Pam
younger
Bondi,
than she is.
Pam Bondi doesn't have a drinking problem. You know, alcohol and
Yeah.
And I don't know, does Kamala smoke? I bet she smokes too, but we know she drinks. We know she smokes. I don't know how much she smokes today, but smoking, drinking, and sleeping with other men's husbands, that can age you.
You look at
other women's husbands, I should
look
say.
at these. You look at these Democratic women that are in the House and the Senate, and you look at them. They have all their problems, and they have a bunch of problems. You look at some of the Republican women, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to now Pam Bondi. Mm-hmm. They have no health problems, and they're in fabulous shape, and they look younger than they really are.
Yeah, and they have their wits about them. She didn't get hysterical like those lady senators did with Pete Hegseth the day before. She was great. All right, appreciate the call, Mike. Good to hear from you. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Keith Nevins. How you doing?
Oh, my goodness. A voice from the past. Keith Nevins, how you doing? Great. Good to hear from you.
Well, yeah, I heard you when you were talking about the peace agreement. By the way, my son was hurt in Lebanon, by the way.
Is he okay?
And, it's been well, yeah, he's okay. I mean, I can't say too much, but he's a team leader, and he goes first.
Wow.
Whenever they go into tunnels or houses, he's the first one in front of everybody. And I really can't talk too much about it, but he was hurt. But he's okay. But he was in Gaza and then Lebanon. And I got to tell you something. As a father, you can't imagine how this past year has been. Because it's heartbreaking knowing that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, let Iran have all this money. Because, they recovered like over 85,000 weapons. The first day my son was in Lebanon, day one, his team, his little unit, they recovered $14 million of rockets. The very first day alone. Okay? But I will tell you, Biden was so interested in always aid. Everything was about aid, and fuel going to Gaza, and fuel. I'm telling you, this thing could have been over with so fast. But you were right. You can't expect anyone to really totally win if that's the game you're going to play.
Yeah.
And I thank God every single minute now that Donald Trump is going to be president. But we'll have to see. Because I'll tell you what, already Hamas is saying that they're still going to attack Israel. It's not over, that they're going to get into Jerusalem. And it's the same thing over and over again.
Well, listen, here's the deal. Here's the deal. The Iran, the Muslims are always going to want to kill Jews. Okay? That's just their culture. So that's
and Christians.
Yeah, they don't like Christians either, but they really hate Jews. And you're never going to fix that.
You're not going to fix it, but if we're going to start rebuilding Gaza, right? See, this is the problem, is they know that they're going to have brand new apartments, and they're going to have brand new streets and brand new hospitals, and it's just going to start all over again. This thing is I'm telling you, it's far from over. It may just be a pause, but that's all it's going to be is a pause, unless Trump goes all the way and stops funding to the government of Iran. And I always say the best weapon we have against Iran is really the people themselves in Iran, because most of the people in Iran or our natural allies.
Well, Trump
And
said
that's the
Trump's
thing.
going to cut off all their money. He's going to cut off the money that we're giving to Iran. He's going to cut off the money Biden's been giving to Hamas. And he said he wanted the hostages free, not some of the hostages. He said the hostages will be free or all hell will break loose. And they're not releasing. How many hostages are they releasing in this deal? Like just a handful.
I think it's like 34 in the beginning, but I don't know how many of them are alive. And the ones that are alive, I don't know what to expect. Those poor girls, right?
Oh.
Especially the female soldiers. How many times they've been raped and things like that. And that's what I'm saying. This whole year, listening to this garbage from people that have no clue what they're talking about. It's been one of the worst. It's the worst year of my entire life. There's been nothing worse than this. You know, every night going to sleep, not knowing if the phone rings in the middle of the night, if my son is okay.
Yeah.
And, what he's seen at age 21, I'm hoping when he comes to visit, maybe we can, like, I want him to start talking to people and sharing what he's seen. And it's, Brian, every house, right, like in Lebanon, you talk about like civilians, all the poor civilians, their houses were just loaded, I mean, loaded with weapons.
Yeah.
Loaded with weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no getting away from it. But the only way to stop this is to stop the head of the snake, and that's the government of Iran.
Well, and I think that's at the top of Trump's list. He almost broke Iran in his first term, you know, and he'll.
But now they're so close to the bomb.
There's no way that they're
so
going to. No way Trump's going to let them get the bomb. And when they cut the money off, they'll go broke real quick.
Well, I hope so. Let's just pray. Everybody.
Are you in Florida now, Keith? Or are you still out west?
No, I'm still in Nevada. I'm probably going to come back home next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, and my son can't tell me everything, of course. But the stuff that he has told me, it's like this is not the stuff that you hear in the news. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a wild show, and now I'm going to have to worry. By the way, okay, because we talk and we try to maybe make a couple jokes and things like that, but I'm going to have to really see how he is. Because what he's been through now at age 21. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just craziness.
Well, listen, we got a lot of our guys came home after Vietnam and even the war on terror with PTSD, and it's a god-awful thing. Gaza, like in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Vietnam, they're in civilian neighborhoods, and that messes guys up. Listen, I got to run for our break, Keith, but it's good to hear from you. When you come back to Florida, reach out. We'll have you in studio. All right, take care. For those that are wondering, that are longtime listeners, that's Keith Nevins, the son of Barry Nevins from Barry's Vitamins. Okay, if you guys remember Barry's Vitamins, that's Keith Nevins. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. All right. Yeah, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Sally said, am I nervous to fly to L.A.? I'm always nervous to fly. I don't like flying. I don't mind. Flying to L.A. is the same as... I really don't like flying to L.A. because it's a long flight. And I was thinking about switching to a... and I don't fly first class, okay? All these clout chasers. I always fly first class. I cannot justify... If I was with Kathy because of her disability and stuff, I'd fly her first class. But I'm going by myself. I fly coach. And but I got a nice aisle seat with lots of leg room, and then I was thinking maybe I should switch and get a window seat because I might get a good view coming in of where the fires have been, because I'm going to be landing when the sun's still out. So if I hate the window seat, you're so cramped. They make the seats so small these days. We'll be back in just over a minute. But I don't like flying. It's a long flight. You're cramped in. What I'm curious about when I get off the plane and I walk outside is, am I going to smell the fire, the burning? So I'm a little curious about that. 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, one and all. I found something out this morning that blew my mind. I've been telling you guys about Mike Lindell's incredible deal on his cross. The cross that Mike Lindell himself wears, he's now offering for sale at MyPillow.com. It's called My Cross. And he has the exact one he wears is the one for men. And he has another one that's a little smaller for women. And I did not realize that they updated the discount on the Mike Lindell cross. Now, these are not sold as a set. Okay, they're sold separately, the male version and the female version. Mike Lindell is now offering the My Pillow cross for $75 off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and free shipping. $75 off the My Pillow cross, the same cross that Mike Lindell himself wears. So order yours, $75 off each cross, by the way, because they're sold separately. $75, you get two of them, that's $150 off, and free shipping, even if you just buy one. So $75 off and free shipping. And I don't know how long this is going to last because these may sell out, and it's not just the cross. You also get the necklace with the crosses. So $75 off the Mike Lindell cross at MyPillow.com and free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. What's on your mind?
Hey, that last caller talking about Iran, you said that, Trump won't let Iran get the nuke. Let me tell you something. Israel has said they will never let Iran get that. They will be the first ones on the receiving end. We will be second because they hate America because we stand and protect Israel. Israel last strikes, I believe, damaged them much more severely than the world knows. But I think that Israel will have a supporter now, and they've always had within our government and military, that all nations will be blessed through Israel, and you'll be blessed if you bless them, cursed if you curse them. And that is very true, and I believe why America still has maintained its greatness, because we support God's people.
I'll tell you, though, about this nuclear weapon, I'm not so sure that they're close to the bomb, and I'll tell you why. I've been hearing that for like 20 years. They're almost there. And I'm not saying they're not working to develop one, but I don't know if I buy that they're close to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I always hear that. And it is scary that they would have a nuclear weapon, but they're going to get shut down. When Trump lowered the oil prices and cut off the money that the U.S. was giving them, they were almost bankrupt. And if Trump had they would be out of business already. And if they don't have money, they won't have money to maintain their police state over their people. Iran could very well collapse in Trump's second term, and we could get a freedom revolution there.
And the only thing that would take it to go over the top is the Iranian people to rise up, who are pro-American by large, to rise up and be able to do it from within. And I really believe that's what Trump's goal would be behind it, is to support the people in Iran and put the sanctions, like you said, to bankrupt them. And it's a very important political part in the world, just like North Korea. Trump got along with them, and he put them in his place and checked them, and that's what we need to do. We don't need to dominate countries, but we do need to control them from being able to become a powerhouse when they vowed to destroy us.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And don't you think that Biden, Obama had a lot to do with sending them a lot of money? And to me, I don't understand how they can support an enemy that has vowed to destroy us and not.
Because Obama is on the side of Iran. And not only that, I mean, there's a lot of people in this country. That's why I talk about Candace Owens and her nonsense. You know, a lot of people in this country, like Candace Owens, they're anti-Semitic. They don't understand the issue. They don't understand what they're saying, and a lot of them have confused what we're doing with Ukraine to how we help Israel. There's no equivalency at all. They don't. I've gone through this many times. If somebody calls and questions me on it, I'll get into it. I'm not going to break down the whole history of Israel right now. But, you know, Israel is not the same as Ukraine. And we can never do enough to help the Jews.
Amen.
I mean, look at Pete Hegseth. Did you hear that? One of those idiots that they carried out of the Hegseth hearing was calling him a Christian Zionist. What is that? What kind of?
Can you imagine?
What kind of nonsense is that?
Right here in America, Brian.
Yeah, Christian Zionist. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and you know, it's coming down to good and evil, and you can see which side people are on, even within our government. And Trump, I think he's going to end the Ukraine war so fast it's going to spin the head over there. They're not going to get no more money.
Well, he's ended one war already. This is the beginning of the end of this war. Yep. And that's two wars. 50% of them have now been stopped by President Trump. Think about that. That's amazing.
And look how many little attacks are on Israel now because they know what's coming. But Trump has told them straight out he's coming after them. And let me tell you, our enemies are in fear right now, and that's what we need a president like that. Just like Reagan. They believed Reagan when he spoke. And that's the kind of people we need leading our country, like Pam Bondi, Getz, and Tulsi, and these people that are they're going to put America first, and that's what it's about. We're tired of the establishment on both sides of the aisle. We are Americans and Americans first, and I love this show, Brian, and the people you have are the best. And I wish the best for all of you, and God bless you guys.
All right, good to hear from you. Jeff from Maine, always good content. Now, after the top of the hour, I want to get into Biden's farewell speech. I want to touch on something here. We have a few minutes left until the top. I got some calls on the air yesterday, and then a lot of messages from Trump haters after the show. And there were two calls about this. The first one was a liberal lady that I wanted to have a conversation with, but she wouldn't stop talking. And then there was a nicer lady, but she called at the very end of the show. And there's like, you're giving Pete Hegseth a pass on his adultery, but not Nikki Haley. And I got a lot of comments from people. And this one, somebody left this comment on one of my YouTube videos from yesterday, and I'm going to read it to you. I posted a screenshot of this on my Twitter. You can read it. And I don't know who sent this, but they're welcome to call in. But this is what they wrote. Brian painted himself into a corner by not being honest about Pete's misconduct. And he is clearly hypocritical in obsessing about Haley having sex in the car while giving Hegseth a pass. That's me. He's talking about me He was clearly shaken by being called out by the caller, Lynn, and it took him a long time to recover. Really? I missed that on the show yesterday. That's the price he pays for being a shameless sycophant. Meaning of Trump, yeah. Brian called Lynn perverted in order to deflect from his embarrassment. Wasn't Brian the one who derived a perverse pleasure by endlessly talking about Haley in the car? Truly pathetic. Okay, there's a couple of differences between Nikki Haley cheating on her husband and having sex with this other guy and Pete Hegseth. One, Pete Hegseth was a private citizen. He was in the Army and he worked at Fox. Nikki Haley was an elected official in the state house in South Carolina when she was doing this. So she is a woman who is married. She's a member of the State House of Representatives, and she was having sex in the car, not in someplace else, I'll tell you in a moment, with a man who worked with her. She also, and he gave sworn depositions about this. He said in his sworn deposition, and he worked for Nikki Haley, and she was a sitting member of the South Carolina state legislature at the time. They also had sex in her office, her state elected office. In the physical office, they had sex. Pete Hegseth was not a public person. He was in the service and worked at Fox News at the time. Okay, and there's a difference between a man and a woman when the man is in private. I'm not approving of what Pete Hegseth did. Don't misunderstand me. Another difference is he's admitted what he's done, asked for forgiveness of the American people, his wife, his family, and of course has seeking forgiveness from Jesus, right? Which he talked about. Nikki Haley has done none of those things. But because, and in the Pete Hegseth case, in the instance in California, Pete was so drunk, according to reports, when the police reviewed the hotel surveillance video, he could hardly stand up. The woman was holding him up and walked him to the room. And it is very possible that in the Monterey, California instance, Pete Hegseth was a victim of date rape. It is possible that he was date raped, that he was so drunk he couldn't consent. Now, someone like Pete Hegseth, if that's true, a guy's not going to admit that. But he very well could have been date raped in that hotel in Monterey. Make no mistake about it, okay? Based on the story. Because Nikki Haley has never owned up to any of this, and she was an elected public official. That's like when remember that staffer in the Senate? He was having gay sex in the same hearing room that some of these confirmation hearings are happening in. Remember that? You know, that's what Nikki Haley was doing. Similar thing. In her state legislative office, the guy said they had sex there, not just the car. So that's a whole nother level. And because she's a woman and she's concealed it, never admitted it, and done these things, it opens her up to blackmail, okay, over this as well, which makes her a security risk. So there's all kinds of differences here. Now, Pete Hegseth's first wife was his high school sweetheart. Those don't usually last, you know. And the first lady that was calling that wouldn't stop talking on yesterday's show. By the way, you're all welcome to call in about this. The two ladies that called yesterday about this, you're very welcome to call in about it and comment on what I'm sharing. There was an issue made that his wife, he was cheating on his first wife with his current wife and impregnated her, and then and she worked under him or with him at Fox. Like something's wrong with that. Most of the people that I met my wife through this show. She was a listener, okay. But before, and I've been married 28 years, so it's been a long time since I've been single. But when I was single and dating, and I think this is true of most people, most of the people when I was young and dating, I either worked with or went to school with when I was in school, right? It's not immoral, unethical, or wrong to get involved with someone you work with. That's, you work, you meet people. That's what happens. I don't understand why the fact that his current wife worked at Fox is some kind of indictment against him. So there's big differences. What Nikki Haley did was possibly criminal because she was having sex in public and in her elected office as well. So that's like even criminal. Pete Hegseth may have been a victim of a crime, the crime of date rape in Monterey, but I haven't heard anything that would be criminal being alleged against Pete. So that's that. If you're on hold, stand by. 1 hour down, 2 to go. It is Thursday. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be back right after this. Do you guys understand the differences there? Big differences. Would you agree? Oh yeah, 28 years. To be proud of my wife for putting up with me for 28 years. Right? But no, those are big differences, guys. Big differences. Mm-hmm. And very well what she did, having sex in her legislative office and public parking lots, that's criminal. Big differences. All right, we will be back in about 4 minutes. We'll be back live on the radio. If you're on hold, hang in. You're welcome to call in. I'll put you on hold, and I'm going to take some calls when we get back. So that's the main differences between the Pete Hegseth adultery and the Nikki Haley and why they're different. And you know, I think most reasonable people would agree with me on those differences. But no, Nikki Haley. Oh, what Jesse Waters did was a little different. Jesse Waters let the air out of the intern's tires that he's now married to. That's creepy. I didn't see anything about Pete doing something like that. But if you take issue with my explanation of the differences between those two events, you're welcome to call. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free, no matter where you are listening. I got to turn the air down a little. It's hot. I just turned the ceiling fan on. Let me ask you guys that live up north, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, do you guys have ceiling fans there? But when I was a kid in Ohio, I've lived in Ohio and Florida since I was 11. And I used to come here during the summer. I never saw ceiling fans when I was a little kid in Ohio. Now, maybe everybody has them now because Home Depot's became national and all that stuff. But when I was a kid in Ohio, I don't remember anyone having ceiling fans. Like in the 70s, up north. That was kind of a Florida thing. Okay, we have about 40 seconds. We'll be back live on the radio. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yes, we don't have basements in Florida. In every room. You guys have the ceiling fans up north? Yeah, we have them in every room, too. They used to make me nervous because I've had two fall out of the ceiling. One I installed on the back porch, and the other one was in a room. It was in the house when we bought it. Fell out of the ceiling. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me, Brian?
Absolutely.
IB. Hey, brother Brian.
Hey, IB.
Oh, yeah, you're coming in kind of light the other way around.
Whatever.
Good call, Jeff, that you brought it to the bottom line of good and evil, and the Lord God also will smite thee that is evil on the earth. And Nevin's call kind of paints the picture that we don't see, because if we don't see it on TV, it's not there. And we should not rebuild, because when we gave them Gaza, they tore down things that's been around forever, just like they did in Tibet. They wiped out something that could have been beautiful. Why should we give them money to rebuild after what they caused on themselves to then destroy? And
good points, IB. I agree with all of them. That's right. That's right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You got to pick up the phone. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice. All right. You're out. Okay. We tried. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Hey, Mark. What's up?
That's really sad how they attacked Pete Hegseth about cheating on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, President Biden is having an affair with Jill when she was married to his best friend, right?
Not only is that true, yes, when Joe Biden first started having sex with Joe, she was married to another man who was his best friend. And do you know how Jill Biden's first husband found out she was cheating on him? Do you know what happened? This is crazy.
I don't. Educate me.
Her first husband bought her a convertible Corvette. This was in the 70s. And Joe and her were hooking up, and wherever they were having sex, they were driving away from it, and Joe was driving the Corvette and drove into somebody, got in a car accident in the vet, and they hit a guy, I believe it was in a truck, and the guy that they hit knew the first husband and told them. That's how we found out. And then after that, Biden, for years, harassed the first husband. Harassed him using his authority as a big party boss in Delaware to harass the guy for decades.
Just imagine if Trump did that, he'd be 24/7 attacked.
Yeah, scumbag. Scumbag. I mean, having sex with another man's wife and your best friend at that, that's a low-life thing. It doesn't say much about her either.
Our vice president did the same thing.
That's correct. Yes.
Anyway, thanks for your good work.
All right, appreciate the call, Montana Mark. Yeah, he's right about all of that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Man, this hearings are really annoying. It's supposed to be, I thought, that the candidate goes into their offices and has talks with them, and then if there's anything they can find out to help the president, what he already doesn't know, then it's supposed to say it. Instead, it becomes just a political nonsense. They say Adam Schiff goes out. I can't believe people vote for that guy, but he's in office. And then the other lady from Hawaii, she was never very good, but man, I think she's gone insane because
she's the worst.
When she had Pete Hegseth, I was like, wow, people vote for that lady? I can't believe people. How many times can you trick somebody? I mean, both these people want to wise up and say, man, that woman's not right.
Who was that? I remember, what was the guy's name? I'm sure he's passed away, but that Hawaii had the same senator for like 100 years. He was the senator during Iran-Contra, and was accusing Oliver North of he was bringing up the Nuremberg trials and all this crap. He was something about Hawaiian senators just makes them nasty.
I don't know what's going on in Hawaii, but man, oh man, that woman really needs to get out of.
My understanding. Okay, my understanding about Hawaii is the Hawaiians. I don't know if she's Native Hawaiian or Japanese American of descent. I'm not sure. But the Hawaiians and Asians of Hawaii, I've been told by many, are racist and don't like Caucasians. And a lot of people move to Hawaii that are white, and they can't find jobs, even as a school teacher, because they're not Native Hawaiian. So they're racist out there, the natives.
I'll give you a quick. I went to Hawaii. I went to the Mansion Hotel because they're supposed to have dolphins there, so I wanted to see the dolphins. I walk in. I was the only white guy. Everybody's Japanese, and the security comes over and says, "This hotel is for Japanese." They want to throw me out. I said, "Okay."
For Japanese, it's a racially segregated hotel. Oh my goodness.
Man, my father went there. He says he was in there for World War II. He says, "I think we lost the war."
Yeah, I know. They all go to Pearl Harbor to look at what their grandfathers did, right? Hey, listen, appreciate the call, Doug. All right, take care. Doug's a good guy and a good caller. Oh, my goodness. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I believe Daniel Inouye.
Yes, Inouye. That's it. That monster, Inouye. That's who it is. Yes.
Yeah, a monster. And I'm going to bring up something that everyone is forgetting about. There is only one country around this globe that's actually verbally threatened an assassination of our president, and that's Iran. They got a hit on for him. You don't think he's going to go after them? This is a personal thing now. This isn't just country. They actually have a hit on President Trump.
You know, at Jimmy Carter's event in the Capitol. Remember, President Trump went to the Capitol while Jimmy Carter was lying in state. Redacted yesterday reported there were 2 assassination attempts on President Trump in Washington when he went to the Capitol when Jimmy Carter was lying in state. One guy tried to get in with knives, and another guy lit his car on fire.
That's the thing. I'm going to say something. I think President Trump is very intelligent. I mean, he's smarter than I am. But I know he wants to thank people that voted for him. But for him to have a rally the day before,
yeah,
and in that cesspool, why is he doing that, Brian? Let me tell you something. I want to see him sworn in at 12 o'clock, man. I don't want to have a tragedy here.
No, I agree. I'm not crazy about this rally that he's doing on Sunday.
Why would he do that? Yeah, why would he?
Well, rallies. That is, it's like having President Trump is so hated by Washington. It's like having a Trump rally in Tehran. You know what I mean? I mean, they all. I mean, you're in a city of people that hate you like poison. And that you're coming back and you're not in power yet. I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. And then he's got the international threat, the Iranians who are probably here already because of this creep at the open border. And by the way, he's still not in charge of the Secret Service.
That's right.
Mean, if I was President Trump, man, if I was President Trump, I would hire private people until he's sworn in at 12 o'clock. Because listen, I mean, this is dangerous, man. I just don't. No,
I don't like it either. I don't like it. In fact, he might have more people that love him in Tehran because so many people over there hate the oppressive government than in D.C.
Yeah, you got it, man.
All right, take care, Richie.
Good morning.
All right, take care. I got to run. We'll take our first break of the second hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this. Okay. All right, stand by. The show is flying by. I don't know why. When I do the show here in this studio, it seems to go by quicker. To me, it does. I don't know if it makes any difference to you, but since I don't have that hour drive to get to the studio in the morning, maybe I just have a little more energy. Driving wears me down. Does it wear you guys down? It does me. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. If you're watching live, you can call in. We'll be back in less than 3 minutes. No, I'm not crazy. Make sure, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And, of course, if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video. We'll be back in 2 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. Less than 90 seconds, we'll be back. One minute. Mm. 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. And, of course, you were listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. You know, Tom Laporta has been with us for many years. He's a good MAGA guy. He will never sell you a roof you do not need. You know, a listener sent me a message. They said, who buys a roof they don't need? Sadly, a lot of people do. They just don't know it. And to give, if you just need a simple repair, Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing will do it. We had a listener who had a pretty large HOA condominium community, and he called Tom Laporta to come out and give him an estimate after he had several other roofers come out and give him estimates on the roof in his community. And every roofer other than Tom Laporta told him he needed a whole new roof. Tom said, no, you just need a repair. That's because he's honest. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. You know, he works with every type of structure, residential, commercial, and municipal. And Tom Laporta can handle a job of any size, whether it's a small single-family home or an apartment or condominium or office complex with 250 units. Buildings. He can handle a job of any size. You can find him online at LaportaRoofing.com. That's LaportaRoofing.com. But I'm going to give you Tom Laporta's cell phone number, which he only gives out to our listeners, okay? You're not going to find Tom's cell phone number on his website, but you will find it right here on the program. I'm going to give it to you right now. You can call or text, and this is the cell phone number that rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone that's in his pocket. Tom Laporta and I text each other a lot, and this is the number. In fact, when I'm doing the message for Tom Laporta, I don't have his cell phone number memorized. I don't even have my wife's cell phone number memorized, honestly. I have to look in the, just got her name there. I just pull up Tom in my text messages, and I look at the number there. So here's Tom Laporta's cell phone number. Call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602 for Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. All right, back to our phones. We've covered a lot today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Rob from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Rob, what's up?
Hey, I was calling about this J.D. Vance thing. And
what J.D. Vance thing?
I
don't know what you're talking about.
About how I'm talking about how him and the other Republicans are planning to enact the 25th Amendment against Trump once he does some stupid stuff.
You're hallucinating. Where'd you hear that at?
What?
Did you just make that up?
I got some inside information from some military people that's preparing to back this.
Oh, well, first off, if they're military people, they should be arrested because that would be treason. and they're criminals. So if you have people in the military telling you that, you need to report them. That's a crime.
Right, but if he's not fit to be president, then
who's going to decide that? Your friends? Your friends are going to decide that? That's treason. Turn your friends in, okay? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Every once in a while we share with you the call, those of you that are new to this program, all of our calls are screenless. I have done this for years. We don't have anyone answer the phones, which we could do, but we don't. We take them screenless. I screen them on the air. And every once in a while, by the things that people say and the quality of the calls, you can tell that the calls are screenless. All right, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Brandon calling from New York City.
Hey, New York, what's up?
Like a month ago. Yeah, if you notice with Pam Bondi, when you was watching the court case, they really didn't have anything on her. If you notice, they keep trying to get her to turn against the people that they try to get her to turn against. They keep asking her about Trump. They keep asking her about the guy that we're about to put in for the FBI.
Cash Patel.
They have nothing. Cash Patel. They keep trying to get her to throw Cash Patel under the bus. And I'm like, you think this smart woman is going to just turn against her team? And they keep saying, if you notice, they're like, oh, yeah, so you're going in and you're going to tell Trump, when Trump called you, and, we've been breaking the law since 2016, and Joe Biden been the worst president in our lifetime, weaponizing the justice system and literally carnate everybody and said, okay, you're going to go off of Trump, you're going to go off of Roger Stone, you're going to go off of Alex Jones. So they literally carnate, like all of them connected and go after all of these people like, oh, okay, we got to take him down, got to take you down. So you got this guy that stepped down of one court to go pull up this, a worse job.
Yeah.
So y'all weaponize the justice system. It's like, I was talking to my mom, and I told my mom, this is dangerous. Because my mom, she go for the Democrat. I was like, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing, because this is and I guarantee you're going to hear these Democrats screaming. It's like, okay, they got the gun right now. So, oh, yeah, I got the gun. So,
well, let me tell you, the thing about Pam Bondi and her hearing yesterday, she did a very good job, but it was very uneventful because
I love it.
I was telling people Pam Bondi is a 60-year-old lady. She's 59. She'll be 60 years old this year, right? She's a 59-year-old lady.
She's a rock star. She's a pit bull. She's no joke.
And she's the best. And she was our attorney general here in Florida, and she was great. And Pam Bondi, she's like Trump. She has a squeaky clean life. They got no scandal with Pam Bondi, zero, and they had nothing. They tried to bring up this thing that your law firm represented Qatar. They call it Qatar. I call it Qatar. And she says, yeah, I was working to stop human sex trafficking. Yes, I did do some work there to stop sex trafficking. They got nothing on her, and for a woman, for any person to spend their life in public life and reach the age of 60 years old and be scandal-free, that's of any kind, not even something they could inflate, is really amazing. She's like a nun.
No, she's a pit bull. I don't know, Florida got all these great, senators and these great people in Florida. It's like, they got it right. Like, if we want to see a better America, we need to start whatever water, food they eat in Florida, we all need to get on whatever they eat and done. Because they have, the best people in the country. They all coming out of Florida.
And, Donald Trump is the first Florida president. Florida's never had a president before. He's a Floridian. So he is our first president, which is, I'm pretty proud of that. And DeSantis, DeSantis, who's part of the Bushies and they haven't changed the signs. When you enter Florida, it doesn't say home of President Donald J. Trump, and it should. When you're driving into Florida, the sign should say, "Welcome to Florida, home of President Donald J. Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States." But DeSantis, I guess, can't get himself to do that.
No, I'm like, we have a lot of work to do. Like Donald Trump about to go in, we got this rally coming up. It's just, I think we need, well, some people, we need to really go hard in voter ID. Because once again,
yeah. Well, listen, tomorrow is open phones on Friday, but listen, thanks for the call, and I got to run for a break anyway, but take care. Now, remember, Steve Kane and I are inviting all of you to join us Monday at noon at Wings Plus, the Sample Road location in Coral Springs. All of the TVs, and there's TVs everywhere. There is not a table in Wings Plus that you don't have a great view of a television. We on all of the televisions at Wings Plus, we'll be carrying the inauguration of our favorite president, Donald John Trump, the greatest president of American history, Donald Trump. We're going to be watching the inauguration together at noon on Monday, January 20th, and all of you are invited. Wings Plus is located about a mile west of University Drive, on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. There's plenty of parking. There's also parking across the street, guys, okay? So we all look forward to seeing you there. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our bottom-of-the-hour break and be right back. All right, I'll be right back, guys. All right, we'll be back in about 3 minutes. I got to get to some of the new news stories, so if you're on hold, hang in there. Hey, Luna. This is Luna. Since I'm home, I've got my cats. This is Luna. She's the mother of the kittens, kinda. She's adopted them. Hey, Luna. How you doing? I know. Get to broadcast at home with my cats. This cat loves us. She's the oldest. All right. The kittens, they're running around. They're a little more shy than she is. Yeah. My cats have a great life, I'll tell you. Luna loves the kittens. I mean, I was so worried when we got the cat. We wanted to get a cat for Luna because we knew she was a little lonely. And then my brother-in-law had the two little kittens. We got them. They were a month old we had to feed them with a bottle. And we kept them away from her for close to 2 months because they were so little. And she took to them. She takes care of them. She's their mother. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are the kittens, but they're getting big. 1 minute. Yeah, that was a good caller. That guy was a good caller from New York. Yeah, she's cute. They're all cute. The kittens, they don't like to be held up in front of the camera as much. All right, 30 seconds. Plus, if I bring them up here, they're going to want to climb over all the equipment. So, but I'll show them another time. All right, 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. All right, we got a lot to cover. I want to get into a little bit of Biden's bizarre farewell speech. And I was thinking hard this morning. I do not believe I have ever paid attention or discussed the farewell speech of any president. Well, you know, the Eisenhower one's different. That's like history. I'm talking about when they leave office, like they all give them in fact, the military-industrial complex warning of Eisenhower was his farewell speech on the eve of the inauguration of President Kennedy. But Obama, Clinton, George Bush, I don't remember ever covering or discussing farewell speeches, Bush one, of any of these jokers. But this senile, corrupt old coot, we're going to discuss his. By the way, did you see Hunter Biden? Okay, now let me mention this about Hunter before. I got a couple clips I want to play of Biden. Did you see that Hunter has, it's been reported that Hunter's art burned up in the LA fires in his house out there? And he's saying that millions of dollars in his personal artwork that he's created went up in flames. You know, I told you guys that when Biden pardoned his son, okay, I told you guys, don't worry about it. Don't get upset about it. Hunter's going to screw up. He's led a life of crime. He doesn't even know what he's doing is crime, and he's always had Daddy to bail him out. But Daddy's not going to be able to bail him out after he's no longer in office. Right? Because he's always been powerful. He's been in the Senate Hunter's whole life, you know? And my first thought was, does he have his own artwork insured? Do you think Hunter has his artwork insured for millions of dollars? You know, there very well could be an insurance investigation. And if he has committed fraud, if he commits insurance fraud, okay, He's not going to have Daddy-O to bail him out this time. So we'll see. We'll see. And there's a lot of media that are covering Hunter Biden's personal... This is the art he created with the straw in the nose, which was, you know, couldn't believe he did that. A lot of media are reporting that Hunter Biden's personal art collection of his own art that he's created burned up in the fires. I haven't heard anybody get into, is it insured? Is he trying to run an insurance racket? But we'll see. If he is and he gets caught, he's in trouble. Okay, so I got a couple of clips here that I want to share with you. This is Biden's speech. By the way, he is completely out of it, Joe. But here he is. This is the first clip.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation. enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power.
Okay. Now, this is, pretty scary. If Joe Biden or Kamala would have been elected instead of President Trump, people like you and me, we wouldn't be able to have discussions like this. You could tell. It's a threat to democracy. All this free speech, this First Amendment, they consider it to be a threat to democracy. They're going to shake up the press briefing room, apparently. I was reading this morning, Carolyn Leavitt, who is President Trump's press secretary, is not going to have a West Wing office. I don't know where her office is going to be, but they are making some serious moves to make the White House press briefing not such a big deal, where it's going to kind of fade away. And also, they're going to take the front row seats away from this out-of-date media, the networks. Right? Even Ari Fleischer is in support of this. He says they got the press briefing room like it's the 80s. The new media, well, you know what the new media is. And the reason that Biden and the Democrats and the establishment think that the new media is a threat to democracy, it's because they can't control it. When we just had 3 networks in the New York Times and the Washington Post covering everything, they could control the narrative. They've completely lost the control of the narrative. And Carolyn Leavitt not having an office in the West Wing, I mean, maybe she's disappointed by that, but that's great. If we could get rid of this daily press briefing, which is just a poison that's going on, things would be a lot better. So, so here he is on his way out talking about basically canceling out the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Here he is talking about the fires. This is all from Biden's farewell speech.
Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of...
Okay. So he's blaming, and we don't need to hear more of that. He's blaming the California wildfires, not on the arsonists that are out there, not on the incompetent DEI, overweight fire chief and the incompetent mayor. He's blaming it on climate change. That's what caused the fires. These people are on another planet. Now here's another one that's becoming a talking point of the left, okay? And the talking point that I've even had callers over the last week call me on the air with. Here's Biden from his farewell speech.
People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules. Pay their fair share of taxes. People should be able...
Pay their fair share of taxes. The only people that pay taxes are rich people. And when they say rich people don't pay their fair share in taxes, what they mean is they pay a lower percentage of their income in taxes than people that are not wealthy. Well, but they're still paying a lot more because their income is so much higher. It's such a misleading thing that's going on here. Meanwhile, we're not paying our fair share in taxes. Wasn't his son up on some tax rap that he got pardoned for? It wasn't just the gun charges. It was also income tax evasion, wasn't it, with Hunter? Now listen to this. This is insane how he ended his farewell address. It was perfect.
His farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote.
He's reading in the parentheses again, but what he's talking about here is all kinds of things that we don't have to worry about because he's out of power, he's going away, and the most dramatic shift in this country since the Republicans freed the slaves and the Civil War was over is about to take place right now. We're getting our country back. You saw that with Pam Bondi yesterday. You saw it the day before with Pete Hegseth. This Marxist, anti-free speech, lunatic Democrat Party is so out of date. I was watching the Bondi hearing yesterday, and these senators, the Democrat senators, it's like they're in a parallel universe with the questions they asked Pam Bondi. One of the Democrats said, "Is President Trump entitled to another term after this one?" And she says, "No, you only get two." Those kind of things. They're in this MSNBC other world where there's an alternate reality, and it's a liberal term, but they have alternate facts, okay, which are not factual. And that era is over, and he looks like an incoherent, senile Alzheimer's patient, Joe Biden there. Pretty sad. All right, back to our very busy phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Bill from Stanford.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
Well, I love Pam Bondi, and I think she is going to give us accountability for the SWAT team showing up at Mar-a-Lago, for the SWAT team turning up at Roger Stone, for the SWAT team turning up at that father that pushed somebody at a abortion clinic, and the accountability for taking Mike Lindell's phone, for the accountability of Rudy Giuliani. She's going to do that.
That's right.
And we finally going to get some. Well, I think we're finally going to get some justice.
Yeah, is Mike Lindell going to get his phone back?
Yeah. And this is just probably, what about all those people that never went in the Capitol? Mm-hmm. Standing outside the Capitol and arrested.
And what she said, she was talking about the pardons, and she wants to look through them on a case-by-case. And I think that's very important because we know that there were undercover feds and Antifa and Democrats inside that crowd that were fake MAGA. Some of the people that got jammed up might be federal agents undercover, in deep cover, might be Antifa, might be Democrats, and her taking a close look will expose some of that. So I don't expect a blanket pardon for all the J6ers. I expect they're going to look at them.
Not for beating up a cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the others are. They're baseless, and then the lack of due process for all the.
Well, I wonder if a police officer could get charged for killing an unarmed woman at the Capitol.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing.
No statute of limitations on murder.
He got some type of accommodation or a medal or something.
Yeah.
Biden, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break, but appreciate the call, Bill. Good points. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, I'm going to put you on hold. We'll be on the air in just a minute. All right? Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
Great,
Brian?
great. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, what I have for you this morning is, there are different philosophies on planning, and one is to plan for the best case scenario, and one is to plan for the worst case scenario. I subscribe to planning for the worst case scenario because planning for the best case, really the strategy is to cross your fingers and hope for the best. And there are, there are ways to get around some of the planning that we talk about where, for example, when we leave the assets to our children and we want to leave it to them in a protected way, so it's protected, for example, from their future divorces. We get people say, oh, well, my son or daughter, they could just do a prenup. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, them doing a prenup, is that a best case scenario or a worst case scenario? Because what if they didn't do a prenup? Think about it. You've worked your whole life to acquire the assets that you have. Think about every day you woke up early, all the sacrifices you made, all the savings you've done, and then to put it to chance that those assets could end up going sideways to another family because you didn't want to do the proper planning, and you're putting it in the hands of crossing your fingers in the best case scenario that somebody else will do the right thing. It's probably not a good idea, not a good plan. So we help people who want to plan for the worst case scenario.
Absolutely. And remember, it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio. His number, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we will talk tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All
Look
right.
forward to it. Thank you.
Great. All right, we are back, and let's go back to our busy phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Jupiter.
Hey, Bob, what's up?
Hey, all that was missing from that address last night was, get off my grass. 50 years of what has he done for us? For 50 years, this guy has done nothing. There's nothing he can say. I had some international people from over in Europe visiting me this week, and they were watching that. They're not political people, and they were laughing at him last night.
Oh, yeah, how could you? Well, I wasn't laughing. It was scary to me.
Well, it's scary when he's pointing his finger at us, right? I mean, it just sums up what a sorry life and career this guy's had in politics for 50 years. What has he done for us? Nothing.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
All right, take care. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
How are you?
Doing all right.
Hey, I'm not sure where I am in your show because I've listened to it. I don't know, but anyhow, I'm just going to get to the point of what I wanted to say. There's breaking news that Netanyahu and the Israelis have not ratified that deal.
Yeah, I know.
Because Hamas is already back. Okay, I don't know. Well, that's so people getting their panties in a bunch about this terrible deal. They can unbunch them because I don't think that deal's going to hold water very long. It was enough to give Joe Biden something to come out and talk. Trump is he's a mastermind. By doing that, by having this, it gave them an opportunity to see let Joe Biden play his hand. Also, to see that he's going to rush out there and take credit for something that he actually. We know why it's such a bad deal. It's because it's the same thing that he's been pushing since May. So, but you were talking about Pam Bondi at some point this morning, and you're absolutely right about how good she looks. And I'm going to tell you some of my theory as to why. Number one, she's in excellent physical condition, meaning that she works out. Even though she's in Florida, I'm sure she doesn't spend a whole lot of time in the sun. And she takes excellent care of her skin. She hydrates, and she's got someone who does excellent work.
She is, she's always
she looks absolutely gorgeous.
She always looks good,
and she owns it.
And
but she owns. There's a certain amount of confidence a woman has when you wherever you are, you're comfortable in your environment wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You look at them Democrats. They're always scheming. You see, even AOC. She was so fresh and cute looking when she first got there. Look at her now. Look at how she's wrinkled. Because she's always frowning and scowling and fussing and cussing. And Pam Bondi doesn't do that. And how she handled those people yesterday is how she handles all situations. And she's comfortable in her own skin. She's very competent. She doesn't have to prove anything to anybody.
Well,
And
I'll tell you something
that's the
about
well-being.
about Pam Bondi. I think most people would be shocked to learn she's a 60-year-old lady. Okay, I think most people would be shocked to
absolutely.
know. I mean, but you
Absolutely. People would be shocked to know how old I am.
Yeah.
They are always shocked to know how old I am.
And
I'm telling you that because I am certified physical fitness trainer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Good for you.
I understand what happens.
But the thing with Bondi,
You got to fight it.
the thing with Pam Bondi, and this is so important to understand, okay, with people. We had 2 days. We had Bondi yesterday, and we had Pete Hegseth. These are, and I got to tell you, I have followed, especially with the Republicans, I've been following so many hearings and confirmation hearings, et cetera, et cetera. I've never seen two Republicans who are under attack by the Democrats in confirmation hearings like this handle them with the ease and that they did. It was without effort from both of them. And
because they're confident and competent. And you don't have to feel stressed.
Emphasis on competent, because most of the people you get, President, Pete Hegseth has a background in television, but also in combat, so he knows how to handle himself on TV. He knows how to handle pressure as a leader of men in war. Pam Bondi is just competent, and they're just good, and it shows this is a game of the political apprentice, and we have this great bench of people around President Trump that he's chosen that are just perfect, great people. It's fantastic.
Do you want to know how I think it's going to end? I think all of this dog and pony show that's going on, Democrats are showboating their ignorance, and we know now why a donkey is their symbol, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
What's going to happen, we've watched this play out. President Trump gets inaugurated on Monday. He's in office on Tuesday, or maybe Monday afternoon after the inauguration. Senate goes into recess, and when they come back, they're all in place and ready to work. Donald Trump knows he has no time to waste, not 1 minute, not 1 day to get this thing rolling. He doesn't have time to mess around with them. He's going to let them do their little thing now, but I think I saw John Thune and his wife with Melania and President Trump. That's it. His wife likes that. She has the possibility of being propelled into something, and she's a good-looking woman, too.
Well, when you look at what's going on in these hearings, Thune's fine. You see how the Republicans that are running these Senate hearings are so organized and they're on the Trump train. Everything is going like clockwork.
Didn't they eat the Democrats alive? I love to see the Republicans with the backbone that they showed. How especially the guy who came out and said about how many of you come in here drunk and vote. How many of your wives have left you?
Well, and if you notice during the Pam Bondi hearing, Adam Schiff fell asleep. Maybe he passed out from drinking.
It could very well be, since they have drinks ordered in.
Yeah.
Understand? But anyway, I just wanted to share that and encourage all of the older women, all of us grandmothers. All you got to do is get out there and exercise every day. Do an hour a day. Make it your habit and drink a lot of water.
That's right. All right, Barbara. Good to hear from you. Take care. Barbara's isn't Barbara a great caller? She's a great caller. I remember a time when it was so unusual to hear from a black Republican. And if you would get a black Republican to call in, it happened like twice a year, maybe. And I remember on some of the national shows, Rush. Okay, we're all fans of Rush, and we all miss Rush. But when it was so unusual for Rush to get a conservative black person to call him on the air, he would keep them on forever. And I would joke around with Steve. Rush is like an anthropologist, like he's found this member of this lost tribe that's been lost along the Nile somewhere of black Republicans, and he's talking to the guy for like half an hour. Now it's common to hear from black Republicans. I've heard from 2 just in the last few minutes, right? And that's a good thing, isn't it? It's really awesome. Finally, we've made some inroads and woken people up about the great Republican Party. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Appleton, his laser wave pain treatment. It's amazing. His laser wave pain treatment works on so many types of pain. When I run into listeners, when I go to see Dr. Appleton, when I have an injury, I always ask them what they're getting treated, if you don't mind me asking. And it's every time it's something new. I ran into one guy not long ago. He owns a carpet business. He installs carpet. He's been installing carpet his whole life. He's got his knee problems. Oh, man. Can you imagine? He's like my age. He's been doing that his whole life. His knees are hurt. Sometimes it's hips. There's one of our listeners, a runner. They're having hip problems, neck problems. One of our listeners, arthritis in the neck. Holy smokes. If it's a pain, the laser wave pain treatment can help. Stenosis, neck pain, tennis elbow, tinnitus, strains and sprains, sciatica, muscular contraction, lumbar pain, hip pain, knee pain, bursitis, arthritis, bronchial neuralgia. The list goes on and on. So much is when it comes to pain, it's just the worst. The pains that I've had, each and every one of them, that Dr. Appleton has rid me of 7 times. 7 times he's rid me of pain. They were all just god-awful pains. All of them. The kind of pain that hurts so much that you just want to go to sleep. Right? And pain's awful. And when I was younger, I thought pain was just part of growing older, because I remember my grandparents always having aches and pains and things like this. Well, they didn't have the laser wave pain treatment with Dr. Appleton when my grandparents were around. They passed away back in the 80s. So living with pain is not a part of growing old. I'm going to give you Dr. Appleton's number. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. Remember, Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, and appointments are not necessary even on Saturdays. All right? And no charge consultations as well. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, well, the show has flown by. After the top of the hour, I've got some more to share. We'll get back to your calls. And we got a lot to cover that I have not yet gotten to. But President Trump has ended another war. Now, so far as what Barbara was talking about with Netanyahu, and they haven't agreed to all this stuff, Trump's not back in office yet. Okay? And I was talking, Keith Nevins, those of you that remember Barry's Vitamins, called early in the show and was talking about what's going on. And what I was telling him was this. Iran is Hamas, okay? So Iran, Hamas are seeing how little they have to concede. They're seeing how much they can keep, how much of their way they can get. And Trump said if the hostages are not released by Inauguration Day, all hell will break loose in the Middle East. Well, I got news for you. 30-some-all hostages isn't all of them. And this dilly-dallying around about this, that, and the other thing, that's not what Trump talked about. Trump will take care of it. He's not in office quite yet, but this is over, this war. There's 2 wars, 50% of them gone, over, thanks to President Trump. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. Be right back, guys. Hold on. Gotta cue something up here.
Retrofitted with their
All right, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Two minutes exactly, actually. Just over a minute, and we'll be back. The show has flown by. Completely flown by. Seconds, 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Oh, and I got to tell you, we've only just begun. Steve will be off today. Expect him back tomorrow. He's taking a couple days off. But Steve and I both will be at Wings Plus. All right? Monday, Inauguration Day, the 20th at noon, and you're all invited. Remember, Wings Plus is about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. See you there. All right, we got a lot to cover. Joy Reid, I haven't played any clips or even talked about Joy Reid in quite some time. And we may not have much time to talk about Joy Reid because I mentioned yesterday the head of MSNBC is out, who's one of Joy Reid's besties. So this poison that she's been spewing on the air, she's had, the head of MSNBC backing her. Now she's gone. So who knows what's going to happen with Joy Reid. But she has lost her mind, as well as her hair, because she was on TV completely bald. I mean, completely Mr. Clean bald last night. But she was talking about the LA fires. Listen to this.
Retrofitted with their ugly right-wing policies, the way they've ruined Florida and Texas and every other red state, where poverty rates are high and education is warped and non-white immigrants, pregnant women, victimized girls, and LGBTQ folks live in fear.
Oh, my goodness. In Florida, non-white immigrants and non-white immigrants and LGBTQ people live in fear? Red states like Florida? Do we have people living in fear in Florida? I don't know.
Then the fight for permanent control of America is basically over. They can drill and frack California till the fires this past week pale in comparison. They can rip out all the forests and hand over the land to developers, Florida style. They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they control California to never have to worry about another presidential election. The billionaire right knows that they cannot take California, home to Hollywood, San Francisco, and Kendrick Lamar, by culture. So they're looking to try to take it with lies and deceit and by fire. And joining me now is
joining her now. So what Joy Reid just said is Republican billionaires are burning down Los Angeles, that the California fires have been started by Republican billionaires. And this is really bad. You know, Tim Russert, who was the host of Meet the Press for many, many years. You guys remember Tim Russert? He passed away many years ago. Tim Russert was a Democrat, but he was like a more reasonable guy. And he helped start MSNBC. He was the managing editor of NBC News. And he had authority over MSNBC when he was alive. And they started to get kooky. And he reined them back in and got rid of some of the kookiness. And then he passed away. He had a heart attack on vacation. I think he was in Italy, Tim Russert. And that's when they started to go down this. You know, this isn't just... It's okay to have difference of opinions on everything. We talk about politics. You know, there's difference of opinions. But there's also irresponsible broadcasting. And Joy Reid here at the end, let me rewind it here so you can play the end, when she blames Republican billionaires for starting the fires in Los Angeles.
And frack California till the fires this past week pale in comparison. They can rip out all the forests and hand over the land to developers, Florida style. They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they control California to never have to worry about another presidential election. The billionaire right knows that they cannot take California, home to Hollywood, San Francisco, and Kendrick Lamar, by culture. So they're looking to try to take it with lies and deceit and by fire.
Okay, so there she is blaming Republican billionaires. Not a blaming. She is saying that Republican billionaires, the leaders of the new MAGA Republican Party, have actually set the fires in Los Angeles on purpose, which means they've murdered over 20 people now, is the latest sad death count. And it's likely to grow when they start going through the burned up areas. She's accusing Republicans of starting the fires and killing people and destroying Southern California. That's when this is more than just absurd. This is more than just lunacy. This is incitement. I mean, you know, she's accusing Republicans of purposely starting these fires. That is so irresponsible. I'm a free speech person. I make my living with my speech. So this is, you know, I'm a First Amendment advocate. But this is the incitement of something against a group of people because she doesn't like them politically. Now, the thing about her and this is that she's from another time. She's from the post-second Trump term. This rhetoric was completely rejected by even many in California because we flipped about a dozen counties Republican in the last election and President Trump won all the swing states. So what she's saying in this anti-Republican rhetoric is out of fashion, out of style, but she's still saying it. This is very dangerous. It is irresponsible. It is dangerous. And I'm here to tell you that she should not be on the air saying that. Now that she doesn't have a protector, that her bestie has been removed from leading MSNBC, there may be some accountability going on over there. But this is NBC News. MSNBC is under the umbrella of NBC News. You got to have some responsibility with what you're broadcasting. And she is not. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Hold on. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Joan from Tampa Bay.
Hey, Joan.
Oh, that woman is crazy.
No doubt.
What's so bad with Florida? Do we have poop on the streets?
Not in my neighborhood. I haven't seen that. You know.
I haven't seen it in my neighborhood here in Tampa Bay. Nobody poops on the street.
Yeah.
We don't have homeless camping out all over the place.
Well, I do know this. Our fire hydrants actually work. There's water with water pressure that comes from our fire hydrants so that if there's a fire, the fire department can put the fires out. I do know that.
That is true as well. Oh, you know what? When you're driving down the street and they have those cat eye things on the street, when you see one, I think it's yellow, it points to a fire hydrant, so they know the fire department knows where the hydrant
Yeah,
is.
there's blue reflectors on the streets, too, in front of fire hydrants.
I forget what color, but
Blue,
anyway.
blue reflector. But you know, what Joy Reid's talking about here is insane, and it really shows how lucky we got that Donald Trump was reelected, because if Kamala would have been elected, that mindset is what would have been running the country. Hey, appreciate the call. I really do. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to take our first break of our third hour of this Thursday morning edition of the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. That is really sick. That's one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard on MSNBC, is that clip. It really, truly is. We'll take our first break of this hour and be right back. Okay, we'll be back in just over 2 minutes. No, that's pretty bad, what she said. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. That's as bad as it gets. That's just to say something like that. I mean, you hear me when I get like people that say stupid and extreme things like that guy about the J.D. Vance thing. I shut that stuff right down. You got to have some responsibility when you're on the air. And that is irresponsible. Now, she's a dangerous person. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Just crazy to me. Just over a minute, and then we'll be back. Seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'll go back to our phones. We've covered a lot. You're welcome to call in about any and everything that I've brought up since 6 a.m. today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, Brian. I just heard the Joy Reid commentary, And I remember Tim Russert because I never missed one of his shows. He was one of the great journalists I thought we had of our time. If he heard what he just heard, I think he'd have another heart attack. He was an even player, had great commentary, and I would give anything to have him back for just 20 minutes to do an editorial commentary on what we just saw from Joy Reid, who I believe, by the way, didn't she go to Harvard on the DEI thing?
She went to Harvard or Yale. There was one guy. Who is that guy that they used to have on MSNBC? They fired him. They brought him back. He was a sports guy that had this really deep voice, liberal lunatic. You know who I'm talking about?
I think so, but his name just doesn't come
to me right now. Keith Oberman.
Oh yes.
One of Tim Russert's last actions running MSNBC before he died was removing Keith Oberman from election coverage because he was an editorialist, not a news guy.
Yeah.
And MSNBC used to be a different place. What she did. Now, if there was a story where they had a Republican billionaire who had funded arson in California, that'd be different. Okay. But that's not what happened here. She just made that up.
Well, I think she's really not aware, but I do think down the road California will be in play. I think we took 17 counties in this last election.
Yeah, listen. There are 5.5 million Republicans registered to vote in California. That's more than Florida. We have 5.3. Wow. Okay, so they have more Republicans in California than we have in Florida. This was a Democrat state for a long time, and we took it back, and it never went back.
No. Once you get a taste of sound, reasonable government, you don't want to give it up.
Mm-hmm.
To get people to move back to California, I don't think so. Not until they change the government out there.
That's right.
That commentary is so off the wall and so sick, and that's what's I think that's going to disappear.
She should be. Now that her best friend's not running MSNBC anymore, she could face some consequences for that. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, you got to have some responsibility when you're on the air. You really do. And she has none. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is B from Upper New York.
Hey, B.
Hi. I have a couple things I want to say.
Can you turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to me on in the background?
I thought I had that up.
I can still hear it.
Can you still hear it? Now?
Now I can. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. I've been watching the proceedings for the past 2 days. Number one, Pam Bondi. She is as beautiful inside as she is on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that's because she's content, she has a good soul, and she does what is the good thing for everyone, including herself.
Yeah.
She's got a beautiful inner being, and it shows on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And you compare that to the left, and you don't. They're getting ugly.
Well, I know this. Attorney General Pam Bondi won't do what Loretta Lynch did and have secret meetings with President Clinton on tarmacs and and do things like that. I know she won't be arresting parents at school board meetings in Virginia, like Merrick Garland sending agents in to write down their license plates like it's some mob wedding, like in The Godfather. I know she won't be authorizing warrants to break into former presidents' homes like Merrick Garland did.
Exactly. What she does is to fight crime. She's not after anybody by name. It's the crime that's been performed, and that crime will lead to the past of the individual or individuals that have been involved in the crime, okay? Number two, all of a sudden I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Did you know that she's a 60-year-old lady, Pam Bondi?
Oh, yes, I know that. But
Does she look great?
Doesn't show it on the outside because that's what she is. She's got inner beauty that has come out on the outside of her.
That's right.
It transforms. What you are inside comes out on the outside.
That's right.
I strongly believe that. Okay. The other thing is, I have picked up on what the left has been very concerned about. They keep going back to the 2020 election.
Well, that's all they got. That and J6.
Right. But I think what they're also doing is they're trying to find out what will be done if we are going to do something about checking
They're not.
into that again.
Nothing's going to be done with that. They're going to move on, and I'll tell you why. That's a rabbit hole. Trump's going to move on to other things. You're not going to get anywhere with that. It's been too long. If there's any evidence, it's been altered or destroyed. It can't be. There's nothing you can do about that. And
but they want to know how we are feeling for the next time around. They've got midterm elections coming and all, and they want to know how we feel about what happened in 2020.
the best thing to do is to stay away from that. Because what they want to do, okay, the reason they bring that up and a couple of other things is they want to try to get you bogged down in these issues, right? To try to discount what they're doing when they do that is it's fishing. They're fishing to try to find something to get you bogged down on, to discredit you with, and it's best not to go down certain paths. And that's one. It's time to move on from that. There's nothing that can be done about that. We got Trump back now, and what can I mean? Look, I think that the Trump family taking over the RNC resolved a lot of those problems. That's why we performed so well in this last election.
Yes, I agree with you, but I want everybody else out there to agree with you. That's where I get a little concerned.
No, I doubt it because I get a lot of heat from people because I don't obsess over that. And President Trump says move on from that. They're gonna. Now, it's not that they're not going to use what happened then to make some changes in the future. But the main thing I think what President Trump's going to do is they're going to pass a law saying that federal elections are federal elections, even though they're done and handled by the states, and voter ID is required for federal elections. That's what they're going to do. Even if you're voting locally, it's still a federal election. They have authority over it, and they're going to require photo ID in federal elections. I think that's what they're going to do, and that'll solve everything.
Yes, I agree, and you just carry on with what you're doing because we all love you and we love Kathy, and just keep going. And when you see Steve, say hello to him. And when you eat your chicken wings, think of all of us.
Okay. Well, I certainly will do that. All right. Take care. Thanks for the call. All right. Take care. I got to tell you, I mentioned this on yesterday's show. The last few weeks have been some of the best calls we've ever gotten on this program. There's just, I don't know, the quality of the calls is severely, I shouldn't say severely because that's a negative, but have been incredibly increased. And, because we're back. We're in power now, and people know. So, people are feeling good, I guess. Now, I want to tell everyone about the incredible free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's, a doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone that you can have with the installation of your Slomin Shield. This is an incredible offer. I'm going to give you the number in a moment, so get ready to write it down and give them a call. Slomin's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this. Be right back. Hey, guys. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. I got a couple more stories that I have to get to, but I'm going to take some calls. So if you're on hold, hang in there. Spectacular calls. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and if you're already subbed to the channel, make sure you like the video. Tomorrow, I will be at the radio station. We'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes from now. Got a couple more stories to cover. Hmm. 1 minute. Okay, stand by. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, and this, of course, is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. All right, I'm going to go back to our very busy phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is James Delray. How you doing today?
All right, Delray, what's up?
Hey, it's just a quick note. You know, they kept bringing up 2020 election to Pam Bondi, and it said, you know what? It's all kinds of fraud that coming out as proof there was fraud in the election. Fraud is not a quantitative. It's a matter of occurrence. It's not quantitative. It's a matter of occurrence.
See, this is okay. There's a couple of things we don't talk about on the program. Okay, and I'll give you an example of another one. We don't talk about what you're just talking about, and we don't talk about legalization of marijuana. And why do you think we don't talk about, and that's a hot topic sometimes, why do you think we don't talk about the legalization of marijuana?
I don't know. Tell me.
If and you've seen this happen if you listen long enough, if I mention it, it could even happen because of this. Okay, but I'm not going to let that happen. Or I get a call about it, and we start to have a discussion. Every call it'll hijack the show. Every call will be about legalization of marijuana, which is a rabbit hole to nowhere. Okay, in fact, it just recently got defeated in Florida, surprisingly so. The same thing goes with 2020. You start talking. I get one call making a reference to it. Okay. And then boom, I got and I think Trump has that resolved. I think he's going about it in a very unique way that's pretty smart. And sitting around talking about it today is pointless. I think Trump's got the very fact that Trump was reelected shows that Trump has found a solution to that problem.
I agree. I mean, I just think that if they can null and void everything that Joe Biden signed into law and say
you're dreaming.
Yeah.
You're dreaming.
I know, but it's good hope. But anyway,
No.
so yeah, and I
It's a
think Pam
fantasy.
Bondi did an amazing job in holding her ground against those Democrat senators. They're terrible people.
You know, they, I think that may be the first time we've seen a cabinet hearing where someone didn't have some type of scandal or something that they could try to milk and blow out of proportion. Because they got 2 rounds with Pam Bondi. They only got 1 with Pete the day before, Hegseth. They didn't have anything to ask her about in the second round. That's why they were bringing up Kash Patel.
She was marvelous in handling them. I mean, she just kept talking through what's her face from Hawaii. She kept talking to her. You not answer yes or no. Said I answered that.
Yeah, I know, pretty good.
She's phenomenal. And one more thing I just want to say is that Joe Biden, how come when it was Kavanaugh and a woman needs to be believed? I'm sorry, this might be off topic of what we were talking about, but Kavanaugh, every woman needs to be believed. Biden said, what happened to that woman that Biden attacked in the gymnasium when no one's around? And she came forward and said he attacked me, sexually assaulted me, and nothing ever happened of it.
Yeah, she's in Russia now. She's living in Russia now. She went to Russia.
And did you know? And did you know that when the Clinton Loretta Lynch thing got aired, that the meeting on the tarmac before Hillary was supposed to be in front of Congress the next day? That the guy who broke the story?
If women should be believed, if Democrats believe women should be believed, Pam Bondi should not be questioned. She's a woman. Why don't they believe her?
Listen, I'm just talking about when Clinton met Loretta Lynch on the tarmac, okay, and that story got broken. It was broken by a guy in Georgia, okay. This is part of the Clinton death count, okay. He committed suicide. He's a 35-year-old guy with a family. Played for the University of Georgia football.
Didn't you hear? Loretta Lynch and President Clinton were they met on an unair-conditioned private jet on a tarmac to talk about their grandkids. Remember? They were just talking about the grandkids.
For an hour and a half.
All right.
Grandkids.
All right, Del Rey. Take care, man. Thanks for the call.
Hey, have a great day.
You too. You too. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Tom from Florida.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, fine. Listen, man. January 6th did happen, okay? It was not a day of love, okay? And all this other stuff that we got going on is just a distraction.
A distraction? It's a distraction?
It's a distraction. Did you, this morning I missed the whatchamacallit, the number for the people in California to send some type of relief. Did I miss that number? Do you have that number?
I'm not giving out the number for California relief.
Okay, well, I just cannot believe that anybody, even calling the show, have a little humanity. Those people are going through a lot, and you guys can only pick apart the bad stuff and not concentrate on the good stuff.
Well, this is what I know. How long have you lived in Florida? How long, Tom? How long have you lived in Florida?
About 15 years.
You've been through hurricanes?
Yes.
So have I, my whole life, right? I don't remember California ever sending me any relief. Did you ever get any relief after a hurricane from California?
No, that's because it's called federal funds.
Well,
okay?
California's going to get federal funds.
Okay. But just stop everybody on the right.
Who do you want to? Which California millionaire do you want us to send money to help? That lost their house.
You just talked about. You just talked about how many Trumpsters or people who voted for Trump are out in California. Yeah. And it's like, where's their compassion?
What you're trying to do, which is really sad. I mean, I don't know that if you came up.
It's not sad.
Well,
what you're doing is sad.
Let me tell you what I think. Let me tell you what you're trying to do. You're trying to portray me in a negative light because I'm not giving out a number to raise money for California relief.
I am basically trying to put a perspective on your angle, which is constant problems. It's everybody else's fault. and California is not having a horrible time and all that stuff. God bless those people. All I'm hearing is Gavin Newsom and all this other, you know, it's like, bro.
Yes.
Stop it. Have a little humility, okay?
Humility.
People are going through a
well,
real
next
rough time.
next
Yeah,
week,
humility,
next
okay?
week, I'm going to Los Angeles next week.
Because it's funny that, I mean, all you guys do is like you make fun of people. You pick apart their characters.
My daughter lives in Los
Bonnie,
my daughter lives in Los Angeles, and I'm going out to Los Angeles next week.
I hope she's okay. I hope
She's okay, but I'm going out there. I'll survey the damage. I was thinking about my flight. I have an aisle seat. I'm thinking about changing it to a window so I can survey the fire damage as I fly in the LAX. I can see it from the window better.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah, you would definitely get a better view from that.
I'll survey the damage. Would that satisfy you?
Do you understand what I'm saying, though, sir?
I don't think.
What I'm saying?
Tom, you don't understand what you're saying.
Do you get what I'm saying, Brian?
Okay,
come on,
if
man.
you were
do
to
you understand
okay,
what I'm saying?
In everything
That's
you
a yes or a no.
What are you, a senator? A yes or no? Everything you've said.
But I mean, you can't even give me one.
Well, you're gonna help me out. Everything that you've said in this call, could you sum it up in one sentence? What's the main idea of what you've said in this call?
The main idea is this. The right is putting too much blame, and they need to start having a little bit more compassion. Because
really?
I hear a lot of these Catholics and these, religious people that are calling, and they don't sound so religious.
You don't
they
think that listen, Tom, you don't think that the local fire department and city have responsibility that the fire hydrants have no water?
Brian, absolutely. I believe all that stuff. But when you have
so it's California's fault.
When you have water pressure, and you got everybody running their hoses trying to save their thing,
their garden hoses. You're blaming. Wait a minute. You're blaming. No, you're blaming people using their garden hoses.
Brian, you ready for this?
That's not why there's not pressure.
Brian, if every single person is using the hose
they
all
weren't.
at the same time in some areas,
they weren't.
Okay,
they weren't. That's not the case. That's not the case. They weren't.
Well, and it's funny.
The reservoirs are empty.
I'm seeing their hoses seem to be working. It's just the fire and the conditions.
Yeah, the ones that, like, if I went outside and my hose was not working, what do you think I would do? If I went outside and my garden hose wasn't working, what do you think I would do?
I would think you would check out your water bill to make sure it was paid first.
Okay, and then what would I do? If my garden hose still was not working, what would I do then?
You would probably call your water utilities company, Brian.
No, I would call a plumber to come and fix it. Okay. So you mean
I would actually call water utilities to make sure that your water is running.
If I can flush the toilet and run the sink, I know the water's running. It's just my hose. I get it fixed.
Right.
So why did the fire department not know that the fire hydrants weren't working? They're supposed to test all of them regularly. Hello, McFly.
Hey, hold it, Brian. I see fires being put out all over the place. The narrative that you're creating is
the narrative. Did you know? Okay. Do you know? Have you?
True.
Okay. Let me share some information with you. Have you back in the days of landline? Remember we all used to have house phones.
I still have one. Yes.
Oh, really? You still have a landline?
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, Brian, because
No, you're not going to run out the clock. You're not going to run out the clock. Okay. So when the power
they use Wi-Fi jammers.
Okay.
You don't have a landline, you're screwed.
I know. So have you noticed? And I noticed this. When the power goes out, like there's a storm and you lose electricity in your house. Have you noticed that your telephone landline still works when you lose electricity in your house during a storm? Your telephone still works. Did you know? Have you ever noticed that?
I know how that works. Yes.
Why is that? Why, when the power's out in your house during a storm, does the phone still work?
because it's a totally different line.
No, it's a different power grid. It's a different power line, a different power grid in the house.
Okay.
No. You're not going to ask me. You're not going to ask me. The landline.
I didn't ask you anything. I just said semantics.
Well, you're going to learn something here, like in the days of school. So the telephones are on a different power line system than your home power. That's why the telephones still work when the house power's out. Okay. And when it comes to water, it's the same thing. The water that comes into your house, the water that you use for your garden hose is a different water line than the fire hydrants.
Brian, these fires, okay, are so bad with the wind conditions, even if they had, I believe, an unlimited amount.
All right, you don't want to deal with that. Listen, you're a very lucky man today. You're a very lucky man.
You don't know about physics,
I just exposed you.
You just told me
I
how
just
power line
defeated
works
you.
3 times.
No, and how the
And guess what?
And it's time for a break. And why you're lucky? The reason you're lucky is I have to end the call. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Brian. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Hold on. Stand by. What a day. One minute. Jeez. These callers. You gotta give Tom credit for trying. Seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metal's looking very strong, Brian. $20 up practically yesterday, another $20 this morning. We are well above the $2,700 number, and possibly on our way to $3,000 gold if these numbers hold. Yesterday we saw gold trade up $19.10, closing out the day at $2,696.90 the ounce. Silver was up 71 cents, closing out the day at $30.57 the ounce. Platinum gained $2 at $9.38, and palladium was up $24 at $948. Overnight, we saw gold trade at a range of $2,690 on the low, all the way up to $2,717 so far. And right now we're at $2,716, right up near the highs. That's up $19.10 this morning. Silver up 8 cents at $30.65 the ounce. Platinum up $4 at $9.42, and palladium down $7 at $9.41. So the markets are looking like they're finally going to break out possibly of the trading range we've been in, and a solid close above this $2,700 today, and possibly tomorrow could push us towards new highs next week.
Oh, that's amazing. People don't have to stop in to your shop to buy the metals. If someone's looking to buy gold today, and they even if they're local, and they can't make it in, and they want to make a transaction over the phone, how does that work?
Yeah, they can. You can call us from anywhere in the world and lock in a price, wire the funds, and we'll hold it or ship it wherever you want it to go. We ship all over the world and can handle any size transaction.
Now, gold is just on fire, right? When people are calling or stopping in for gold, what are they mostly looking to buy right now?
A lot of people are taking advantage of the low premiums on the U.S. gold products again. We've got gold eagles. We're selling gold eagles now at the mint cost. In other words, normally they would be 2% higher than this. We are selling them at mint cost, which is you don't see that very often. So that's a great savings on gold eagles, gold buffaloes, the U.S. products as a whole. We have a special sale on those. Of course, the pre-33 that you talk about from time to time is at the world's the lowest premiums we've ever seen them at. And that's a great value right now. The old United States double eagles, the $20 gold pieces from prior to 1933 on special sale right now.
Yeah, and those are the ones that our grandpas and great-grandpas used to walk around in their pockets with and just use as money. And you can get those now, and there's a great one. So the American gold eagle, the American gold buffalo, that's an amazing deal. And of course, the American pre-33 gold. Give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. And I don't think I've ever heard you say that, William Youngerman, about the American gold eagles and American gold buffaloes. I don't know.
We've never seen this before. These are lowest premiums ever.
Well, you hear that, guys? It is time. All right, give him a call. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, or stop in. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And find William Youngerman's phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. That's williamyoungerman.com. And these deals on the American gold eagles, the American gold buffaloes, and the pre-33 gold, I mean, this is... If you're new to gold or haven't gotten gold, this is the time. And if you're looking to increase your holdings, this is the time too. You guys that are gold people already know these incredible deals. Give him a call or stop in. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. We are back. What I was talking about earlier with Joy Reid as an example, Joy Reid. Let me play it again. So there's some context here. Joy Reid is blaming Republicans for starting the fires in California.
Into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they control California to never have to worry about another presidential election. The billionaire right knows that they cannot take California, home to Hollywood, San Francisco, and Kendrick Lamar, by culture. So they're looking to try to take it with lies and deceit and by fire.
So she's accusing Republicans of setting the fires. And what I was talking about, the irresponsibility of this, if there was a story that showed that Republicans were doing this, this would be different. Let me give you an example, okay? There's a story today in Breitbart. An illegal from Honduras has been arrested for sexually assaulting a child here in Florida. That's a story. It's in Palm Beach. There's a mugshot from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and this has happened. A police report says the girl was attacked in Palm Beach County, Florida on January 2nd, also reported by Fox News, and we got a police report. Here's another story. Migrant, which is illegal. Illegals caught hiding guns, $1 million worth of drugs in Boston area shelter. There are police reports, okay? There's multiple news sourcing on these things. So when we say illegals are doing this crime or that crime, we've got evidence of it through police reports and press accounts. Joy Reid is just making things up, which is where the irresponsibility comes in. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ, what's up?
Well, Pam Bondi and these hearings, well, not just Pam's, but basically all of them. It's, I mean, it's pretty easy to see. It's sort of a school or a church of opposites. It's, we could kind of use it as a PSA or a teaching, a video for kids in school. Like this is your brain when you're honest, and this is your brain when you're on DEI.
Yes.
It's kind of,
Well, I tell you a good comparison, a comparing and contrasting. Pam Bondi and Kamala Harris, they're both women about the same age and have a similar career background. Local prosecutors, state attorney generals. Look at the difference in quality of competence between Pam Bondi and Kamala.
You really can't you can't get further apart than that. I mean, Pam Bondi yesterday was sort of the it's just authentic. The epitome of authenticity. Just an aura of calm and competence, not flustered, in command, in control. And you look at the people asking her questions; they look like they're stressed out of their mind.
Absolutely,
it's like they're fiddling for the last M&M or piece of popcorn in the bowl. Everybody's trying to grab it at once. It's just, she looked. I mean, just it gave me to watch that. It helped. I mean, it just helped relax me to see that. That's meritocracy.
Well, it's not just that it's not just that America. Yeah, that's right. It's not just America's back. We're getting Americans that are competent in charge of things.
Yes.
And and that's unusual, even for Republicans.
It really. I tell you. I mean, I'm used to the Democrats. I mean, that's like status quo. Watching those guys, but it was more. They looked more foolish than ever before, because you just like you drew between Pam and Harris, that dichotomy. She was so calm and they were so out of their minds.
Yeah.
It was easy for everybody to see. It was beautiful.
It's a great comparison, no doubt about it. And I got to tell you, she made Florida proud yesterday, Pam Bondi. I'm so proud that, Florida has so much. I think Kash Patel lives here in Florida, too. And, of course, the president's a Floridian now. So, I mean, Florida is the seat of power for the United States. And I maybe I'm prejudiced a little bit on this, but I think Florida is the best state, and we have the best people. I'm sorry, guys. But this is a great.
I still have a lot of friends in Florida. Listen, and the caller about, I guess I don't know if he was drinking or not, but
could
regardless
be.
of all that, I have sympathy for all the people.
Are you talking about Tom? Yeah, Tom sounded like he was drinking. Listen, I'm out of time, but I got to run. We're out of time.
Buddy.
All right. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Don't forget, Monday, Inauguration Day at noon, Sample Road location of Wings Plus. Come meet Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, to watch the inauguration together. Take care, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Open Phone Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday tomorrow at 6 a.m. See you then. All right, guys, I got to run. I got a Zoom meeting I got to jump on in just a minute. So